Good morning once again, and welcome to business segment of Bumper Breakfast. I am Abiola Ismail. As we usually go through our programs, first of all, give you the news. What make business news within the last 24 hours? Then we now go into discussion. I have a guest in the house, which I believe every one of you would like to listen to. It was his here to do justice to our topic of today. First, the news. The federal government on Monday backtracked and withdrew its contempt suit filed against the leadership of Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress for organizing the nationwide anti-subsidy protest on April 2, 2023. We understand that during the protest, one of the issues raised by the Labour Union was that the federal government should step down the suit against the union so that they will have the opportunity to address the issue of removal of that subsidy and the antecedent effect that come about it. And just yesterday, the federal government, played a better role by going to the court and withdrew that case against the organized labor. With this, we believe that the federal government, the Nigerian Labour Congress, the TUC, we now have a tripartite meeting and discuss the way forward so that this economic hardship that all of us, you and I, were going through, we come to a standstill. Let's put it that way. Another story is on the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, has introduced new strategy plan to provide retirement saving account, RSA, holders with the care they rightfully deserve and enhance customer service delivery. The Director General of PENCOM, Aisha Dar Umar, disclosed this while speaking with newsmen in Lagos. On the team, the communication head of that PENCOM, who represented our director, said that the essence of the new plan is to protect the retirees, contributors' rights, quality service delivery, continuous safety of pension assets, and consistent and effective service delivery. The DG stressed that regulatory oversight for improved service delivery in the pension industry will explore how regulatory measures that can effectively boost the quality of service provided in the pension sector. We have an excerpt of the head of communication, that's Abdulkadir Dairo, while speaking with newsmen on the issue of this new plan. Now let's listen to the excerpt.
As a country, I understand and I empathize with people, but even as individuals, what happens is that we wake up, we have challenges, and the only funds that we have that we can say is ours is what we have saved in our retirement savings account, because we have no other savings. And the question is, I am living now, I have problems, I have to leave to retire to use that money, but I need the money to survive now. So if we use the money to solve our current problems, then when we retire and get to that point, we will have no pension. We'll still come back to the issue of lining up on the street and asking God will pay us. So I think we should improve access for all the reasons that the law recognizes we should have access to our pension. If you lose your job after 4 months, you need your money. It should be seamless. You retire, you need your money. It should be seamless. And as I said in the paper, it all starts with us. Provide the right information so that when you retire, you don't have to have problems. Do your data recapture so that when you retire, you don't have to have problems. Government has to pay accrued rights for government workers. Private sector employers have to pay a contribution for their workers. If we all do our part, then the pension fund administrators have no reason and no reason whatsoever not to pay. I think we should ease access, and it's a continuous conversation, and I think both the Commission and the pension fund operators have realized that, and we are doing all it takes. And I think it is the duty of the media to hold us to account when you have problems, when somebody drops the ball, bring it to our attention. And I have no doubt we will take the necessary action to make sure the right thing has been done. People, their benefit is an issue.
I have a very shocking story here, and it affects you and I. It affects everybody. Nigeria tops global unemployment rating. Nigeria topped the list of countries with the highest rate of unemployment, according to the latest statistics released by the World of Statistics. Nigeria led 33.3%, followed by African countries South Africa 32.9% and Iran 15.55%. The lowest rate of unemployment, according to the report, were in countries like Qatar 0.1%, Cambodia 0.36%, and Niger 0.5%. That's our neighboring country here. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the unemployment rate in Nigeria increased to 33.30% in the fourth quarter of 2020 from 27.10% in the second quarter of 2020. Now this brings us back to what we are going to discuss today, and to do justice to this issue, I have a former chairman of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, Ikeja District Society, Mr. Sheson Okunade, to do justice to this issue. Good morning, Mr. Sheson.
Good morning, Mr. Abiola, and good morning to all our viewers this morning. Great to be on the set with you on Business Segment.
You're welcome. Now, we have seen what the World Statistics has said, that Nigeria is now leading among all the countries, 33.3% unemployment rate in Nigeria. How do we get ourselves into this?
Well, first and foremost, going by the statistic, 33.3%, I feel, pardon me, I don't have the statistics, but reality on the street shows that that figure is even low with what we're saying now. And what are the bedrock that gives employment? We look at what is our contribution in productivity. We discover that first and foremost, everything we consume currently are being imported, even to the level of toothpick, matches, things that we can produce locally. And why are we not producing them? You ask yourself, is it that we don't have the raw material? What are the basic components when you come to this production are? You have the man, you have the machinery, you have the money, and you know the processes are there. You discover that the human capital is there. Why? We have the population, which gives room for cheap labor. If you consider what is obtainable here and in the developed country, we are at advantage because every production that needs to be carried out here, there is cheap labor, because if this man is not ready to offer it, another person is ready to offer it, and he will give that to you. The raw materials are there. What raw material do you really want to talk about that we don't have? We have it enormous. But the processing arm of that particular thing and the political will on the part of the leader to create a conducive environment for businesses to grow is what we lack. Talked about the area of taxes. Multiplicity of taxes are there, challenging this same set of people.
Regulatory agencies too.
Agencies are challenging the business owners of fulfilling the obligation they has to do. So when you set up a business, the first area of concentration is, how do I even survive? So if it has to get to the level of you retrenching people for the survival of that business, you would rather give the work of 3 people to 1 person, and rather paying those 3 staff, you pay him 1.5 of that payment so that you can have savings. And that's what is contributing to it. The business climate for an average businessman this day is so hostile that the survivor is tight. And you can see what we are obtaining. I heard about Glasgow moving out of the country after 51 years operating in Nigeria. And ask me, the next time you hear they're in Ghana, how conducive is the environment for business growth, for business sustainability? It is not there. And people might trade blame to say the business, an average Nigeria is not productive, or is not creative, is not innovative. The answer is no. Take a boy who, in our education sector, out of 39, takes 37 position. Take him to UK today, where the system works. The boy will be first.
One of the best.
First. I'm saying it. I've seen some, and I ask myself the question. The same boy you call non-entity here, who the Yorubas they call Olodo, that you don't know anything. It's out there, leading the class. If it's not among the first 5, it will definitely top it. And you ask yourself, there is inherent, this gift and talent in an average Nigerian. The failure of what we're saying now is because there is no system to peg people in. The segment before ours, I was listening to them complaining about education. How do we prioritize education? While we're growing up, they said if education is expensive, try it.
Try it.
As we speak, we already seen the impact of ignorance, because people are not even ready to go to school, because after spending so many years going to that school, is there any work out there for you to do? The answer is no.
And every year, Chairman, we turn out graduates from our universities, from our polytechnics. Yeah.
Well, the days of our father, some of us met little of it. As you are coming out of the school, the work is waiting for you. In fact, they will give you those days, my dad will tell you, they will give you Japa. That is the beetle that will be there. Some are, depending on the caliber of work they are giving to you, some are having 504, 505. Then, new one to enhance your delivery. How many organizations provide official card, even for their staff that they have? A lot of this has actually been contracted out. When you now go again for business survivor, look at the interest rates that the banks are actually putting up for us this day. It's becoming unbearable. Unbearable for business survivor. When you look at the cost of capital for businesses, it's not there. The operating cost is not accommodating. You ask yourself, do we have power supply out there to even augment that we are doing? The answer is no. Except for premium customers to some of these discos that have like 24 hours supply. An average citizen cannot boast of having 10 hours to even do what they want to do. So where there is no power, there is no education, how do you expect those areas to go? So we need the commitment of our leaders in certain areas. We've seen the ministerial nominee, and I'm awaiting who they will give the Ministry of Education. It's fundamental to us, because if you don't equip our younger generation with the right perspective about things, you'll continue to see the Japa syndrome. And I can tell you, it's a global problem, but it's still more conducive over there than this particular place. Because there's a system that works. You can predict your movement in terms of transportation.
Yeah.
Mr. Biola, can you do that here in Nigeria?
You can't.
You leave your house in the morning, and you cannot guarantee that it will take you, when you give me the time this morning, the journey from my place to the studio, it's not up to 30 minutes. But I have to give myself like 1 hour, 30 minutes, kind of, in such a way that I'll be able to meet up the timing. And that is part of the thing. The 1.5 hours that I would have used to do other productive things is actually on the road. Yesterday, I spent about 4-5 hours moving all the way from Ikeja to Bega here.
Now, let's look at the exodus of manufacturing industries to neighboring country, because we all know that sector is the second largest sector that provide employment. Now we have this rate at 3.3%. Now, how are we going to reduce it if we don't have this sector revived? What do you think government should do?
Yeah, okay. First and foremost, I think this administration tends to be on the right track with the appointment of the chairman of the fiscal policy, Taiwo Oyedele. And why do we say this? He has the skill, he has the knowledge, he's been speaking out before now on some of the things to streamline the area of taxation. That's one area, that's the compulsory and the only, what I would call the legal means of government raising revenue, taxation. is a compulsory levy on everyone that carries out business activity or if you are employed for the government. So if you are able to streamline in such a way that you make tax payment, encouraging for people to pay,
Friendly, yeah.
that you fulfill one side. And there is one thing that we always say, the other aspect of government, fulfilling the social contract of providing the basic amenities. I remember when we were together in Gambia for a particular program, and it was saying, just look at it. The roads are there. You are not the one generating electricity yourself. You are not the one providing water yourself. You are not the one constructing the road. Because that's what makes people to evade tax here in the country. But they will tell you that I've made payment of taxes, but I'm not getting value for it. I still have to do those things. So let me just net off some of those expense on the part of I putting those amenities to make my business grow and give the rest, because there is trust deficit. Because government has failed in the area of fulfilling the social contract. If we are able to address that, that is an area, and you must do that with sincerity of heart by blocking all the loopholes. Have a channel, and that's why we're advocating that all the revenue agency can be consolidated to one, so that there will not be multiple way of taxing
The
people,
TSA or
the same
the
people, either via TSA. Just have a single way of channel, then there won't be competition among this revenue generating agency to say, no, I want to overshoot the other one. What is the bottom line? We are all generating revenue for the government, and government should be able to fulfill their other side of providing the social contract. Make sure that we have electricity. The younger ones are yearning for it. Which segment do you want to talk of that these younger ones are not available? Even if it is entertainment. I remember the last my visit to Jerusalem. Tourism was their basis of revenue generation.
Yeah.
They don't have all those basic natural resources that we are talking of here, gold, oil. They don't have tourism. And because the environment is secured, conducive for people trooping year in, year out to go and have their vacation. As we speak, this is summer. People are moving out of the country to go and have their holiday. Can we attract people to come here? We have the Obudu Ranch, we have the Yankari, we have a lot of specific, even in the West here, go to this place in Ikogosi, where the hot and the cold water. It's if you see the way developed country promote this kind of a thing, it attracts investors, it attracts people. But as we speak, the sincerity on the part of the government to create security is far from it. You and I cannot deem it fit to say we want to travel from here to Ibadan after 7 o'clock. You dare not do it. But years back, I prefer to travel at night because my notion then is that the atmosphere is cool. The engine of the car will be cool. It will only be having the heat being emitted out, and I will have a smooth way. The roads are very fine. But as we speak, the pitfalls, if you don't understand the road during the day and you try it after 6 p.m., you will definitely find yourself, on the other side with LED. These are areas that the government will definitely, to attract people to come and do businesses in your environment is simple. Create the basic infrastructure that will allow the businesses to grow. Those days, people move from because it's a global village. There are certain things being developed in the north that we cannot develop here in the south. How are we able to move these things from the north to the south easily? Most of the time, there are wastages. Look at agriculture. It's more prominent in the north than here. But rather than a truck moving for a day, it spends like a week. And half of the product is bringing is,
perishable goods.
They are perishable goods, and they are just wasting out. They come here, and when they look at the quantity that is really bad, they now add the cost on the fuel that are available. How can we create rail system that can move goods on a fast rail within under 24 hours? They are in Lagos. Create those transportation means of moving some of these things. The trucks that are moving on the road, moving pipeline, petroleum product. Can we have pipeline to take it to the nearest, location for them to now move within
the system rather than you traveling long distance, moving product from Lagos all the way to Ekiti.
Now,
These are infrastructure that the government
Need.
needs to put in place for the product, for the businesses to grow the way it should be.
now let's look at our youth, the generation next,
The Gen Z.
the Gen Z, and we know that they are the one coming up to take over. Now, in all sector, and to reduce this unemployment that we are talking about, what do you think government should do? Now, I can see that in the banking industry, the CIB has already taken up issues with Lagos State government. They are partnering together to bring at least 5,000 out of it. If we have all this in other sectors, what do you think will happen to reduce this rate?
Yeah, you see, each sectors has a way of winning the heart of the youth.
Yeah.
It's not everybody these days that want to go into the banking sector. Some of them are very
Entertainment.
creative. Entertainment is there, tech world is there, and even the production that you're saying. The majority of these younger ones are very fragile. They don't want to do the hard work you and I did while we were growing up. Even agriculture, do we have mechanized agriculture or mechanized farming in such a way that there are certain, machinery you put in place? All they need is put their skill to make sure that those machinery work to give you the desired result. These days, robotics are working certain things that we need to do. But are you aware that people build those robotics?
Sure.
It's the initiative of individual, and that's what our youth are out there to do. So that those that are tech savvy can inject into the lower cadre people how to plug in into some of those things. Truth be told, everything is now being digitalized, and it is the best way to work. I cannot remember the last, if you are saying that people should go into the financial system, except if you are techie, that's when you can make so much. I can't remember the last time I visited a bank. All the transaction I've been doing in the last 5 years has been via my phone. If I'm not on the phone, I'm either using my internet banking, and if I need any service, I call my bank officer. This and this needs to be done without visiting the bank. So you discover that the area where the youth are actually advancing to is coming to reality. Before now, people have been advocating work from home.
Yeah.
Most people would not want to do that, but we are moving towards that direction. I have an organization that since COVID, they've not stepped their office. In fact, the organization is considering letting out part of their building for other people who feels that they need to be physically present. Before now, it's difficult for you to have interviews. But these days via the channel, I grant interview even for stations outside the country. And we won't see ourselves, all you need, it's your gadget, and you're out there. You can do 1, 2, 3. So imagine if you need to move from one location to the other, the cost implication. With this, you are having cost savings. Health-wise, you are saving yourself the stress. So government must be intentional about this entrepreneur, because that's the part these young ones are taking. And it's in line with technology. In line with technology. How do we start creating small hubs for them to bring out innovation? When they bring out the innovation, I can tell you that this studio, I was listening to one guy talking about having space, in the cloud where you have your office. This that we are doing, we can do it, in a technological way, that you are in your home, providing the service, and the control hub is just somewhere controlling us, and we are connecting virtually as if we are in the studio. That is the next generation. That's the next area where they are moving to. People are receiving lectures from home. Go to the developed world, majority of them don't go to classes any longer. Teacher provides lecture online, and it's as if you are in the class. They put all of you together in the class. So how prepared are we for the technological advancement? We need power. It will not thrive in this era where we have epileptic power supply. There must be 24/7 supply, and that's the area where we have the government invest more in power infrastructure. in such a way that you need not to think outside the box to say, when is the best time for me to work? Is it during the day or at night? No. They will take up light and restore it by 7. So let me save my time and wait till 7 till 9. So that, no, when there is 24-hour supply, you can relax during the day. You know, have more inspiration at night. There are some, they take their inspiration in a noisy area. I have a friend, when he's reading, he doesn't like reading alone. He will want to go to areas, and I asked why. He said, do you know, when I'm reading, my discussion and the noise you are making gives me an insight when I'm now writing those exams. I'll remember that when I was reading, that was when Tayo was shouting and was saying this, and that thing will bring everybody. And some people want a perfect silence area where they will read. So you give multiple options. Because there is power supply, you are not stressing yourself. So that's why we are saying government should put the right infrastructure in place. Development is there. We have the raw material. How many of it have we tapped? Talk in terms of gold. Talk in terms of crude oil. Talk in terms of limestone. We have it. Is it cocoa that our forefathers were using? If you have cocoa now, all we do is to export it. They will now process chocolate and give us that, just the same way we are faced with crude oil. So the same way we are faced with gold mining. If the government can create, I can tell you that somebody can develop a technology among these younger ones that you're looking that will extract resources from the ground without you putting any hard labor. While we are going those days in the engineering world, do you know this? There is this screwdriver. It's still available till now. That you, when you want to screw, you exert all the energy. But you do it well.
Yeah, sure. But now
we have technology where you will charge. You just press the thing. I have one to untwine your wheel tire. You just press it. They do. Those days when you go to for organizers, they look at the edge and start eating the edge of your tires. Technology has advanced in such a way that you get in there, you put it in the machine, it brings it out within 1 or 2 seconds, and you are out there. That is why we are saying that government must invest, one, in education, and not the traditional one that we're doing. They must start looking in the area of technology advancement. They must provide the infrastructure. One of the key infrastructure that make those things to work is power.
Energy.
There must be energy. Whether you want to consider renewable, whether you want to go the other aspect of solar system, you must have 24-hour supply. People can think through and make from there, when some of these businesses succeed, they will be able to contribute their quota by paying their taxes and try as much as possible to make sure that the payment is simple. No interface within people. That's why I will give it to FRS of late. They develop a Pro Max where you sit at the comfort of your home without having any interface. Every month you log in your transaction as you're having it. They have access to your bank account with the BVN to correlate it. So the era where you have to shortchange the government because you feel that even when they come for tax audit, they must still see something. Now you group everything together and they can see it online. It's transparent and it's easier to do, and that's what we must start building so that our younger generation can have confidence. There is a lot of trust deficit, and that's why I've challenged this administration that you must build that. There are a lot of potential. Look at those that are working behind the scene for the developed world. I can tell you, bring 10 of those inventors out of the country. 6 of them are Nigerians. 6 of them are Nigerians. Look at the just concluded Falcon. A lot of those people that played for us, are they based there in the country?
No.
The answer is no. They are out there. The Toby Amushon that won the athletics, is she based there? There are no amenity for her to work in this part of the world. But those things are there. They are still patriotic to make sure that. So look at all those segments. It's not everybody that will read the book. Or don't let's get it wrong. Some are sporty, and they want to be a sportsman to the core. Even if it is, that's why our constitution says, even if you must be a politician with school cert, you can become the president of the country. I'm sure you know that.
Sure.
So if you have the basic knowledge, and that's what is obtainable in the developed world, once you finish your high school, it's not compulsory you go to college. But how equipped are we with our primary and secondary education? Most people in the developed world, with their high school, they are as good as a university graduate out there. They have the basic knowledge that is required of them to
not
make things
to
work.
David. Now, looking at these, the world statistics has already put Nigeria on
the flag.
On the flag, yes, on the right now, 33.3, the highest. And this present administration is encouraging investors, both foreign and local, to come up with something. Let's see how we can bring our political will to help you out. Now, do you see this 33.3% coming down in the nearest future?
If we have the sincerity and the political will of our leaders, just the way they've started, I can tell you that even within the next 365 days, this figure will definitely trickle down. Okay. Some of us have asked the question, the hardship we are faced with, which is a subsidy removal. How much of that you're saving currently are you investing in the right things?
The last national broadcast of Mr. President says that almost 1 trillion naira saved from.
And we have asked, is my senior colleague in the financial sector as an accountant, and one thing we bring to bear is accountability and transparency. If he's been able to make that in the last address that we've saved 1 trillion, we want to start seeing the impact of that. You know, I'm not an advocate of sharing money. Don't give me fish. Teach me how to fish. That's the best way we can groom things. They came up with the idea of giving 8,000 to individuals. Said no, invest that in building our refinery in such a way that you can create more employment. Invest that into productive arm of the sector in such a way that we can have more people being engaged. Invest that into security in such a way that I can decide not to fly to Abuja, drive from here to Abuja. People will say, we've done it in time past. Not of late when insecurity pervades. That's when you see me flying from Lagos to Akure. Why should I fly to Akure when I can drive the road? And you know the economic impact this will have on it. When you stop by on the road, you chop erongbe, you take palm wine. That woman is prepared there because he knows that people will stop by to eat. But when I fly in the air, is it heaven that I will go and eat erongbe? So when you create an atmosphere of safety, security-wise, and the roads are motorable, we can drive from here. Even if it take me 2 days, I wouldn't mind. But what you're doing is that you are creating more employment, engaging more entrepreneurs. There are certain people, when they travel, what they look out for is where are good eatery, where they can, not the modern one, the local diet. Yeah. You know, where they don't use Maggi that we use in Lagos. They use the normal iru that the locust beans. Those things. And people will stop by, they will park with their cars, good cars, eat food there. What you have done is that you have empowered that entrepreneur. Yeah. But if an average person that's supposed to travel by road is flying by air, how do you empower that? Those are areas, and that's why we have said address security, build infrastructure, road in particular, create an enabling environment for business growth by not stiffening the neck of business owners in the area of taxation, and you see the economic growth. We are creative, we have the natural resources, we have the human capital. All we need is the political will for the processes to work.
I want to thank you so much for this last submission, and I want to believe that every one of us, you must have at least take one or two things from what the former chairman of ICANN, the society, has been saying in view of this shocking revelation by the world statistics that Nigeria today, we are leading in terms of unemployment rate. The country that is leading is Nigeria. That is very, very bad for us, 33.3%. And we hope our government will do something to bring down this figure. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, Kendi Adiaga, who has been standing by for Stock Market Report, will be on here with you. Just stay tuned.